All right, go. I've watched many of these videos about people that have lung cancer, and I feel sorry for all of them, and I feel sorry for those that have passed away. But I have not seen in any of the videos, maybe I missed them, of what their cancer actually looked like. This is my cancer. It's called squamous non-small cell carcinoma. It was discovered in my lower left lung bronchial tube. You can see how nice and pretty it looks. Cancer is out of balance cells, is how I call it. Modern science is now calling it mutations in the DNA. But anyhow, cancer cells can happen in anybody. This is my story of my cancer that I had. Now it's in the garbage. I looked in the sink and it was splattered with my blood. First saw it was Clint Eastwood in the movie Gran Torino. This happened about 1 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday night, early Monday morning when we went to bed. I woke up because I felt a flood of water or fluid coming up into my mouth from my lungs. What it was the blood had broken loose from the cancer. Now let's go back a month to August the 12th. I told my wife, Jean, I had a strange feeling in my chest. I wasn't breathing well. I was having shortness of breath when I played golf. Going up and down steps, it was just something that just wasn't normal with me. So we went to the doctor at urgent care, and the doctor refused to give me a CAT scan. I took a chest x-ray, and the chest x-ray was, normal because chest x-rays do not show any type of growth in the lungs or like a tumor, which is what I had. Well, I felt okay for the next 3-4 weeks until the night I talked about, September the 21st. It was 1:30 a.m. I went to the ER, and of course, no coughing up blood at that time. They did a chest x-ray again, and of course, nothing showed up. And it never fails that the phone rings when you're trying to do something. So we'll just continue. I asked if I could get a CAT scan, and the doctor said that the x-ray didn't warrant one. So he told me no. I told him I would pay for it myself. They refused to give me the CAT scan. He said, get dressed, you're going home. I said, okay. So I got dressed, and I could feel the blood coming up again. And so I jumped up off the gurney, and I started coughing up blood all over the floor and in the sink. And he says, okay, now we'll do the CAT scan. But I tell people, insist on a CAT scan. Chest x-rays do not show anything. I mean, we can get into a future talk about this, which I'm going through what they call a blood clot or filling now, and I'm laughing because this light is burning out. Like, I'm surprised that we still have a battery. But this is how I've survived this lung cancer that I had. I'm the happiest person there is, I'm not fighting no lung cancer. I never did fight it. My main course was when I found out exactly what it was, which I showed you here. Squamous non-small cell carcinoma. As soon as I found out what it was, I started studying it to see what I could do to help the doctors. Okay, deep breath now. Huh? So I hooked up with an oncologist from the Cleveland Clinic, and I went and talked to him. This is in the meantime, a week after the first time in the hospital. I was back in the ER again, coughing up blood again. So I got the appointment with the oncologist moved up because they were concerned then. So I got the appointment with the doctor, and he looked and he seen what the bronchial test had shown in the pictures, and so he set me up with a surgeon. And then at that time we had to go through these with my health record of having 10 stents and a couple heart attacks. I had to see my cardiologist, and he really had doubts if I could pass the test. And I said, I'm going to pass it. I think everything is fine. Let's just go for it. Cut me, Mick, like the Rocky movie. when Rocky's eye was all shut up and bloodied and everything, he said, cut me so I can see. Well, I said, cut me so I can breathe. Because Shirley, I was having a hard time breathing, and I'm not trying to call you Shirley. And this is the real story. So I hooked up with the surgeon, and he wanted me to go through a number of tests, a breathing test to see if my right lung would be able to take the capacity, because I'm fat and obese, and they wanted to know if my right lung could handle my breathing and with my weight if they removed my left lung. Well, I went through that test. I went through that's with a spirometer test and breathing and different things that we'll get into in the next video if I ever make one again. Then I had to have a nuclear stress test. They wanted to make sure the nuclear test really stresses that heart out. So I go in there and I have the nuclear stress test. Well, it took a couple days for the results, and my cardiologist was shocked. He was shocked because he wrote, surprisingly, with this patient's history of smoking forever and being fat and laying around drinking beer, that my heart muscle had never had any damage. It was always all the vessels around the heart where I've had to have the stents put in. But my actual heart is in great shape. So I says, okay, when can we go for it? Well, the surgeon had to make up his mind. He's got to do his powwow thinking. He's got to, whatever he does, talks to the other surgeons or other people at the clinic. And, finally the date was set. Was November the 28th, 2014. I said, yeah, that's good. I says, I can make Thanksgiving dinner for my wife's family and my sister and my nephew who came in here from out of town. We had a big party here at my house like we always do, like 25, 30 people. And so the next day I slept real good that night, got up, and I was ready to go to have my surgery. My brother-in-law George drove me in, and when I left the room I kissed the family goodbye and I told them I'd see them later. I never had any fear or doubt that I was going to come through this. Well, complications happened during the surgery. I was supposed to just have the lower lobe taken out, maybe a sleeve put in that bronchial tube, but it got in there. They had to take my whole lung out because of where it was, right next to my esophagus, near the heart. I didn't know this until the next day. They came out and told the family. I think I might have heard them say it, I don't know, but I was groggy, and I found out November the 30th that he had to remove my whole left lung, which we had discussed this before I even had the surgery. So the doctor, when he told me that, he also put his head down. He says, I have to tell you, it metastasized, which means that the cancer had spread out into my lymph nodes, and they didn't know if it was, into my esophagus or anywhere else. Only the CAT scans later would discover this, which never was. But when he says, I have to tell you that we took out 20 lymph nodes and 8 of them were positive for cancer, I says, well, I think that's better than 9, right? And he started laughing. I started laughing. He said I was going to make it. Well, I knew that verified my own feeling that I made it. They got rid of all the cancer. Okay, but it wouldn't be shown to be proven until I had a CAT scan. And I'm still going through these CAT scans today. I just had my 6th CAT scan in 2 years. Tuesday of this week, which is, what is today? Today's March 25th. Okay, I had it 3 days ago, so that'd be March 22nd and 23rd. And it still shows that I'm clear, no cancer. Okay, the surgery went very fine. The doctor was happy. I got to go home a week later. And the first person that came to see me was my friend. My friend Zach took this picture. He was the first friend to come over and see me, December the 5th, 2014. And I was so happy to see him. You can see that I still have, I'm still on oxygen, which I was on oxygen for another 7 days, I think, and then I got removed from that. So moving on, I skipped a couple pictures because I don't want to scare anybody. On November the 29th, the day after the surgery, my wife took this picture of me in the ICU unit. I mean, I look pretty bad there. Groggy, I'm eating Jell-O. Which, by the way, with my lung being removed from my left side, the lung cavity, the body fills the cavity back up with a Jell-O type filling. So I'm eating Jell-O to fill up my lung cavity with Jell-O. So this is an actual picture, 2 days after the surgery, of the scar, the famous scar that I have. This is how they had to do it. They didn't do the video surgery. He actually cut me and went in there and became intimate with my chest cavity by taking out my lung. So I'm very pleased with that. This other picture I have is I got tired of being a person that never had a tattoo. And I thought, well, I don't know how long this is going to be with this cancer. So I asked around about a tattoo. They said, no, you can't have no tattoo because I'm going to be going through chemo and radiation treatment. So I told my wife, I says, you see that lung where it's cut there, that scar? I said, I want you to draw a face on there and put on there, have a nice scar day. So this is what she did. And we posted this on Facebook, and all my friends got a big kick out of it. This is my way of surviving cancer. I never fought it. I didn't say I hated it. Nobody ever dropped it on me. God didn't give it to me. I didn't sin to get it. I grew it in my body. And so, like I said earlier, that this is part of DNA mutations that happen sometimes. And I was just one of, that fell towards me. But that's how I also got rid of it. Because I said to the cancer, when I sat here the day that I found out what the cancer actually was, I came home from the hospital after seeing the doctor, and I sat here and I meditated for a while. I had some tears in my eyes and was sad. And I said, well, how should I present myself? What am I supposed to do? Cry and weep and say, I'm going to box it and fight it. How are you supposed to fight something that's inside you? And so I just sat here still. And it came to me that I would love it, embrace it, acknowledge it. But also I had told her that it had to leave. And that's my story pretty much. Other people's story is how they fought it and they're still fighting their cancer. I'm not fighting my cancer. I grew it myself. The healing, my body was already starting to heal before I even knew that I had the cancer. Specifically, when I coughed up the blood, it was already working there to bring the awareness to me. We have to be aware of our problems too. So, I then went January the 14th, 2015, I had this port put in. Right there's a port. They put it in put it in the chest and up through your esophagus and down into the center of my chest. So when they could use that to put the chemo in and any other kind of drugs I needed. So we did pretty good here. I had my ups and downs. At the end of January, I think it was January the 28th or 29th, I had a real bad pain here in my stomach, chest area. So I go to the doctor, and I went to the ER, and they diagnosed me as pericarditis, which is the fluid around my heart that caused a lot of pain. So at that time, they did a CAT scan. Now, this is 2 months after the surgery. The CAT scan showed me I was clear of cancer then. But I agreed with the doctors that I would continue with, the radiation and the chemo treatments, which I finished up in April of 2015. That's another story, but I did want to show this picture. 6 months after I had the surgery, here's the day after surgery. And then 6 months later, here's my wife and I at my friend's birthday party. When you get all the poison out of your body in this picture, and then you look good there, that's a clean person with no cancer. Thank you for listening to this. I hope it helps somebody, but I don't believe in saying I'm going to fight something that I grew. I've never heard anybody say on any of their videos that they grew the cancer. They always want to fight something. I grew it. I got help from the doctors to eliminate it. It's in the garbage and gone. I doubt if that cancer will ever come back. So for now, thank you, and I'm rooting for all the cancer patients out there. It can be done. You can be clear of it. You can be healed of it. My way is with a smiley face and a, an attitude of bring it. Thank you.